Soaring high like sparrows in the air. Gee whiz is dancing. We don't have a care from downtown thunder to the paint fake light. The Washington Wizards, weeping with pride.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Wizards Pulse podcast. My name is Jeremy, aka Suge Knight Shyamalan, here with my boy Wanza.
Yo, what's
Wanza.
good? What's good?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Making it, one day at a time. We survived one of the hardest years in Wizards history, so it don't get any harder than this. So we made it. That says something.
Oh man. It's been a long time since we recorded too.
Yeah.
Life was lifing, and also the Wizards were wizarding, if that's a phrase. They were doing that too. A lot has happened, so let's just recap. We'll recap it quickly. We'll also get into our end of the season grades for the team and for the players. We'll get into Anthony Davis and his impending meeting with the front office. And Brian Keefe getting the job for at least one more year. We'll get into all of that. But just want to remind you all to subscribe to the podcast.
Please.
Like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, so you're up to date on all of our content when we drop it. Also, follow us on all social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X at The Wizards Pulse. And if you want to be part of a future episode, make sure you call The Wizards Pulse hotline and post your pulse. 202-734-5293. That's 202-734-5293 to be featured on a future episode. Last episode we recorded, we discussed the debut of Trae Young. We discussed the few games he did play.
Yeah.
And that very night that we recorded, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points against us.
Crazy.
We gave our, I guess, somewhat quick synopsis. It's now a month since that game.
A lot happened.
How do you feel about that game, Wanza, now a month away from that?
Honestly, it's one of those things I just try not to think about. Like, I just need it to be gone out of my mind. But what I do like, and listen, I am a fan and I don't have to be logical. I'm just going to keep it real. What I do like is how much hate he's getting. I actually enjoy that. That makes me feel good. If it was another team, maybe I wouldn't be as excited about the hate he's getting. But I do like he's getting some hate, because we all know that 83 ain't the same as 81. It don't have the same weight. We weren't actively trying to win. So I decided I don't hate Bam anymore, but it's taking me a while, a couple weeks to just cool the temperatures a little bit. But I've accepted it happened. Now my hope is everyone else forgets about it, so we can go into next year fresh without this baggage of yet another embarrassing Wizards moment, man.
So let me say this. It's funny that you brought up 83 is not 81. And you're right. 83 is not 81. 83 is more than 81. And I feel like because he passed Kobe, who, by the way, doesn't even hold the record for the most points in the game in a single game.
Second, yeah.
But somehow him passing Kobe was like, this is the record. And we've gotten to the point in history that now if we don't see something happen,
it didn't
happen. So now we've gotten to the point that the 100-point game by Will Chamberlain never occurred. We've gotten to the point that the man never went to the moon.
Yeah.
Even though we just did it last week. We've gotten there.
Here we are.
I feel like a lot of people are upset about that game because it was Kobe Bryant that was passed.
Yeah.
Instead of him simply scoring 83 points. If anything, I'm not upset that he passed Kobe. And I know there are going to be some people that I know who listen to this and they say, well, Suge, you're not even a big Kobe fan. I mean, I liked him, but he wasn't my favorite player.
Same.
However, I think it's this reverence around Kobe that anything that is like remotely thought about you know, dissing Kobe in any way. It's so like everyone gets
Sacrilege.
up in our it's sacrilegious. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
But if anything, as a Wizards fan, it's just like, yo, we really put a product out there that allowed him to score 83 points.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reality is Bam still isn't that guy. Like, hate Kobe or not, you know he was that kind of guy. Like, that was within his realm of, yeah, this is what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bam is not in that realm, and he knows that. His teammates know that. The league knows that. Like, you're not supposed to be that guy. So all I'm saying is that highlights the fact that it doesn't feel as real, right? This 83 is like the bubble championship of scoring titles. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it happened. You got it. But I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the exact same as what others went through before. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I feel about it. It don't have the same weight, but I'll admit my bias because I don't want it to have the same weight. I don't want it to be ever talked about again. So I'll admit that bias.
So I did speak with someone who is and I think I could share this information because I'm not going to give too much, but I got this information from someone really close to Bam Adebayo.
Okay, and, exclusive.
You know, I asked him, I was like, yo, when you asked him how things went, like, what was he thinking? He was like, Bam told him, yo, I don't know. He was like, I was just in the moment, like,
in the zone.
You know, the shots was falling, and then after a while, it's like, oh, all right. You know, and yeah, near the end, not only him, but his teammates, his coach, and even Pat Riley in the stands was out there clapping for him to get past, you know, or score as many points as possible. And obviously, he got past 81 and made 83. You know, he wasn't going to get 100 by the time he got there, but, you know, he said, hey, I don't even know. Like, it was surreal. So, but yeah, like I said earlier, it's just the way, the product that we put out there.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that we had Anthony Gill playing center in that game. And mind you, I know Anthony Gill is 6'8", I think, 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
Pretty tall, pretty tall, but not NBA center tall.
Yeah.
And not an NBA center. He's a forward.
No.
He's a forward.
Yeah.
and you know, he was out there. Alex Sarr did play, but then, you know, he was benched.
Yeah, it was like 17 minutes or something like that. Yeah, it wasn't long.
But which, by the way, in that game, he actually offensively played well.
It was a good game.
Was in the game.
Yeah. He might have dropped 40 if we're being honest. Oh well.
Since then, though, the Wizards look really bad.
Yeah.
I almost want to say they look worse after Michael Winger said we are done the demolition stage.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Wizards have looked worse.
It went downhill.
And maybe it was on purpose.
You
know, we've been talking about it. We knew that this season was going to be what it was going to be, but it did look bad.
Yeah.
And then seeing that Anthony Davis, and we'll get to him later, was on the bench, and Trae Young played a few games, and he was on the bench, and it was just like, all right, at this point, we know we're not making the playoffs, but can we put out a product that's at least exciting?
Yeah.
And that was crazy. You got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think the reality is, like, there's different gears. You know what I'm saying? I tweeted a little while ago, they should call ethical, efficient tanking at a high level doing a Dawkins. Because I think this was done at an expert level. But the reality is he hit a different gear. That gear of where we're putting out the worst lineup. We are sabotaging this team actively. We are going to ensure we will out-tank other tanking teams. It was impressive on one hand and pure torture to watch. Pure torture. Like he made sure most of the other young players weren't even like getting chances to really do anything except for Will Riley. And I know Dawkins was pissed about Will Riley. This was not the plan, young man. You were supposed to sprout and grow in the off season. You weren't supposed to show up at the end, but it's still worked out. We gave him a chance to drop his 20. I think he did 30. Was it twice? I'm a big Will Riley fan. We'll talk about him eventually too. But the reality is, Dawkins decided we got to get down and dirty. He said we going to the mud with it, and we're just going to make sure we get no more wins so that we can get the highest chance possible at getting that number one pick. So, shout out to Dawkins, but man, it was filthy. It was dirty to watch. God.
Here's a good thing with how the season ended. At least we know we have a first round pick in the lottery. We kept that pick.
Mm-hmm.
We are at least guaranteed. We're guaranteed now a top 5 pick.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But we, the pick had to stay within the top 8. We're guaranteed the top 5. That was a good thing. But entertainment wise, it was bad. I went to the game against the Bulls. So the second to last home game. I had a work event where I had to go to the Wizards game. Met a couple people. Did some networking, and things like that. But while the game was going on, and the lineups were atrocious on both ends.
On both ends.
Because at least I was like, look, man, can I see Josh Giddey play? No. Can I see Matas Buzelis play? No.
Nope. Not even him.
I was stuck with Patrick Williams, Colin Sexton, Trey Jones, and a 5'7" Japanese guy.
Yeah,
don't even remember his name.
I forgot what it is. It's something like that.
Who, by the way, was getting rebounds, which is what is wrong with the Wizards, man?
God.
Like, can we get someone to teach? Do they do shell drills?
They don't.
They do rebounding drills? Because it was Olay to the basket all through that game. All through the game, even in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
No contest. I'm sitting here like, hey, man, maybe we could get a free chicken sandwich. I think they fouled them twice in the fourth quarter. So it was like we didn't even get chances to get to the free throw, or they didn't get chances, the Bulls, to get to the free throw line. There actually was a lot of people at the arena.
Really? Okay.
That night. It was a Thursday night. However, it really showed me that even to this day, there's still a lot of Chicago Bulls fans
in the area.
Because there were a lot of Bulls fans there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I digress. But the Wizards end the season 17-65. Well below what we thought the team was gonna hit.
Yeah. I think I said 28. I was like, I'm feeling bullish. We're gonna see Bub year 2. It's gonna be crazy. Yikes, my bad, y'all.
It was bad. I wish and maybe on the next episode I'll bring it up. I have to go back and listen to what we said.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking I said something like 30, I think. I think I said something like that.
I hope not. I hope not.
Nowhere near 30.
It's impressive. It really is impressive. That level of tanking is hard to do. Like, it's hard to have grown men only get 17 wins, like in the NBA. It's not an easy thing to do when you were fighting other tanking teams. So, we did it. We did it. It's just, it don't feel nice, but come draft night, we're going to have some different talks, some different types of conversation around this team. I'm already ready for that.
Let's get to grading the season.
Yeah.
We understood that this was part of a rebuild. And Michael Winger said, hey, we are now done the demolition stage. Knowing what this was, what grade do you give the Washington Wizards?
Now, I'm the biggest fanboy you're going to meet, but we got to be honest here. This has to be, and I'm trying to, do my best to answer the question. This has to be an incomplete, because the season had 2 parts to it. First part, make sure we get that pick, because this draft is supposed to be life changing, right? And we did that. So that's what's up. That can't be failing. That's what's up. But we don't really know what's going to happen. And I'm not saying we have to wait 5 years to see what the draft pick turns into. I'm just saying, like, we need to guarantee that we're going to get a pick that's going to have a massive influence on this team. Right. So there's some players I don't think, like, in that 5-ish range, like if we get 5, I don't know if they are game-changing players. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fully sure, Flemings and all of them. Like, I don't know. So I need to make sure I see a top 3 pick for me to be like, you know what, Dawkins, untouchable. Get him the statue. Forget what the player turns into. If you engineered this to get the worst record in the league, plus, in addition to that, a top 3 pick, in spite of Commandant Silver hating us, I think that would be huge. So unfortunately, I got to go with an incomplete because I need more. This is only half the story.
Man, after hearing what you said, you may have also swayed me to say incomplete. I was about to say like a D+.
Yeah.
But this might be an incomplete because, to your point, we did accomplish half of what we wanted. But man, first of all, the entertainment value was non-existent.
Yeah. After Valentine's, like All-Star break, it unwatchable.
Second, I criticize Philadelphia for doing this. And I understand Philadelphia did it for nearly 4 to 5 years, but they were like purposely losing. And I think that contributed to the work ethic in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and look at where they are right now. Ben Simmons is fishing right now instead of playing basketball. And Joel Embiid, just everything. There's always something with the man.
Always.
And he's just never available. And I think that was caused by setting the groundwork with him that we're not going to persevere through things. And now his body just can't even persevere. Not that he doesn't want to. Now his body just doesn't want to do that.
That's a good point.
And I feel like, and I know it's 1 year, but I feel like, are we really teaching our young guys how to win? Like, are we really allowing them to develop, or are we just putting them on the floor and they're playing pickup basketball? So that's why I would also, you swayed me. I would also have to give the Wizards season an incomplete on that. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, just real quick, it's a really good thought you have, because I think the players were developing, because you got players like Bill who was here from the beginning of the tank season, right? So it's been 3 years for him, and he has developed. Players are developing, but there's no way in the world you can say they're learning how to win. If anything, they're learning how to lose. They're learning what it takes to lose. That's what they're learning. The only way you learn how to win is by winning, right? You have to be able to win sometimes, to dig deep and say, oh, this is what it takes. Every stage takes that. 40 wins is going to take that for us. 50 wins is going to take like a legit playoff berth. We're going to have to be like, oh, this is what it takes. And that's when you tap into your OGs, AD and so on, to help show you and prove to you what it takes. But the reality is, nobody should be able to say with a straight face that this team's learning how to win. It's just not. It's not possible.
Yeah. Now that we gave our grades for the team itself, let's get the players that actually exceeded your expectation for the 2025-26 season.
First, number one, in terms of exceeding expectations, has to be William Devontae Riley. All right. Now, I might have made that middle name up, but it felt like it flowed. And the point is, he really showed out. And I tweeted this. I looked it up. I hate to be that guy. I tweeted this in October. And I said, Will Riley might be coming for someone's minutes pretty soon. This is in October. I tweeted that. And folk, listen, Keyshawn, you better stay in the gym. You better make sure that shot is right, because Will is coming for somebody's minutes. So he definitely exceeded my expectations. His craftiness, he's like an average NBA athlete, I would say, but his craftiness, his moves, counters to the counters are way beyond his age. And what I love about that type of game is that type of game can last. He can play like that till he's 40, right? Where you just are picking your spots, moving at your speed, doing what you want to do, controlling the defender, right? Like that's the way that Kyrie plays. Now it's a slightly different style, but it's the same end goal, where you are manipulating the defender instead of the other way around. And so it's really impressive watching him. To me, he's number one in terms of players that exceeded my expectations. Now I had high expectations, but he exceeded it, because nobody was really talking about him in the beginning. So I'm excited about Will for sure.
I would say for me, the player that exceeded my expectations is Keyshawn George. He had a very good summer with Team Canada in the international. What was that? That happened.
You talking about FIBA
Americas.
I
can't remember. I think that's what it was. He had a very good individual campaign with Canada.
Yeah.
However, I still didn't expect him to play the way that he played this year. And to me, he showed that he's a legit starter in the league. He also showed that he's a legit scoring threat. I like his size and length at his position. So, and I just like how he showed up in a lot of games early. One of those games specifically against the Bucks early in the year. Actually, 2 of the 3 wins against the Bucks, I think he played really, really well.
Yeah.
The game against Dallas, first game against Dallas, where I believe that was our first victory of the year. He played really well. Unfortunately, he has the elbow injury, which they said things look like he's going to be good. Just rest and should be ready for training camp. He is a player that exceeded expectation for me. Now, Wanza, who is maybe a player that met, or before we get to that, were there any other players that exceeded expectation for you?
I mean, if you reach a little bit, seeing what Jameer was doing, Watkins, I was really impressed. I was really impressed with that. When he's out there, he's getting you 2 steals just by existing. Like he pops up, boom, let me get that ball. And now, especially near the end of the year, the scoring was getting just a little bit more consistent. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed, to be honest. What he's showing me, like even exceeding my expectations, it's still like an end of the bench kind of guy, but someone deserves to be in the rotation if needed, and can work his way up. So I would just throw that one out there too. Shout out to Jameer for sure.
One player that also exceeded my expectations is Sharife Cooper.
Yeah.
I told my friends that are based in Atlanta, because he's from that area. He went to Auburn, and in high school was highly touted. But I told my friends this one day, because they were raving about him. I said, if Sharife Cooper walked in my house right now, I wouldn't know who he is. And they were like, oh, what you mean? Like, I don't know who he is. Never seen him play. I'm going on you all's word that he was obviously good in high school. And you have to be good in high school or great in high school to make it to the NBA.
To the NBA,
so obviously he was. I was expecting him to do absolutely nothing with the Washington Wizards. I thought he was literally just going to sit on the bench, do nothing. There was a time in the season where he actually needed the play, and he played well. And to me, he showed that he's at least an NBA guard. Whether that is a backup guard, whether that is the third point guard, but still he showed that he's an NBA guy to me. So for me, he exceeded expectations. Will he be in the long-term future of the Wizards? I don't know, but I think he showed this year that he can stay in the league for 3, 4, 5 years in this league.
Yeah. I'll give you that. I can see it. I saw him. To be honest, I still don't expect him to be on the team. I would rather fill that spot with a vet. But every time I saw his box score, I was like, wait a second. Why is it always 20? Why is this guy he's balling a little bit, getting a little freedom. Him and Hardy, they showed up a little bit more than I thought they would. So shout out to them for sure.
Yep. Now, when it comes to players that met expectation, who do you have a player that met expectations?
One player met my expectation, and that is Bilal. All right. Because I really was expecting a turnaround from him in terms of improvement on his offensive game. Now, he took his time. And this is really important because I think the narrative on Bilal has to start changing, right? He went from in this season to a bad offensive player, from a bad offensive player to an inconsistent offensive player. And I think that is that's good. That's what's up. I was impressed near the end. He put up some 20 balls. You know what I'm saying? That was, mostly against bad teams or when he was the only one with the ball in his hand because our team was so depleted. But he was at least getting the ball in the hole. I think that's something. That says something where if he can now go to the next level of consistent, give me a consistent 12 to 15. Give me 2 to 3 threes. And then just run to the basket every chance you get. Just cut every chance you get. Like, he's taking folks off the dribble. And if I can start to rely on him, plus his really strong defense, that's a player. Not the star that some would have hoped for, but that's a solid player who could start on your team. My hope for him was always in the range of a the ceiling was always going to be his name's just slipping me. Prince on that championship
Tayshaun Prince
team. There you go. Thank you. Tayshaun Prince on that Detroit team. That's my hope for Bilal, right? Like, that would be his ceiling. You hit that, that's perfection. So maybe he gets there, maybe it's a little less, but his offense was where I wanted it to be. So he's probably the only player that actually met my expectations.
I would say the player that met my expectations is Alex Sarr. I said at the beginning of the year I'm big on him.
Yep.
I said that he is going to be a future all-star center in this league, and he showed his potential for that. Yes, he did get an injury that held him out for a little bit, and then the losses piled up, so didn't really play much at the end. For the last 20 games, I believe, of the season, didn't really play much.
Yeah.
But he is someone to me that met expectations. Now, we got to get to the hard part here. Players who did not meet expectation this season. Yeah. Who you have?
We all know who we got to start with. What was happening, bub? Like, what happened, bro? Because what we saw was I believe he was third team rookie his first season. Like, he was supposed to be on the way up. Now, I think he might have solidified his shot. His shot is still, like, statistically pretty solid still. So that's what's up. But he did not take a turn, like take that corner, you know what I'm saying? Like, get to that next level like I would have hoped. He was the only player I felt like who might have had a legit sophomore slump, if that even, a second year slump, because it wasn't there. And we saw other players getting more consistent, bringing more to the table. Now, he can do stuff. Let's not get it twisted. This is not Johnny Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bub is an NBA player. That's clear. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw multiple times him having like, 10, 4, and 5 or something like that. So he's out there, he's making an impact to some degree. The problem is, while he's a solid shooter, he's really not above average at anything else. And that is going to hurt him as we start to see stars popping up. Like Bilal might put up more points than Bub, right? Like you got Will Riley out of nowhere. We know Keyshawn is way more consistent. We see a superstar in Sar coming around the bend. Like Jameer, I know what I'm gonna get from him. Like at least I know for certain. End of the bench, but I know what I'm gonna get from him. So the jarring amount of inconsistency with Bub has me a little bit worried for him being a normal contributor. At this point, how I don't see how you put him above third to fourth guard, if we're being honest. I don't see how he goes higher than that. So Bub let me down. One of the few players who like really just hit below my expectations for him.
For me, the player that was below my expectations was Tristan Vukcevic. I thought he was going to take the next step. I thought him and Alex Sarr were going to have rotations where they will both be on the floor with their size and their shooting ability, and especially with Sarr's defensive ability. I thought they were going to help this team together. I understand the context. Sometimes the rotations were really bad. So you are kind of depending on some of those other guys to be on the floor to help you out. However, when it came to his individual play, I thought Tristan Vukcevic could have done a lot more for this team.
Yeah.
And for me, did not reach expectations.
That's fair. To be honest, I've been out on Tristan from day one. I don't see it at all. I was a little surprised he got that extension, a little extra money. So, shout out to him, but I don't see him really turning that corner at to be a consistent player for us. So I'm hoping he exceeds mine, next year. Cause I've been out on him from day one.
Just want to remind you all to like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Also, if you like the audio format, just search your favorite podcast platform.
Yeah.
And search for Wizards Pulse, the Wizards Pulse. Also, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X at the Wizards Pulse. And if you want to be part of a future episode, make sure you call the hotline 202-734-5293. 202-734-5293. Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
According to an article, I just had it up not too long ago. Man, X will do this to you.
Stuff will disappear and
you're just like, whoa, I just had it here.
It just goes somewhere else.
So Joshua Robbins of The Athletic, per his knowledge, Anthony Davis plans to meet with the Wizards to see if they have a plan to compete for a championship next season or during the 27-28 season, per Joshua Robbins. Quote, Davis reiterated Monday that he wants to have in-depth conversation with Monumental Basketball president Michael Winger and Wizards general manager Will Dawkins over the next few months to learn whether team officials have a concrete plan to compete for a championship either next season or during the 27-28 season. When you hear that, what are the first thoughts going through your head, Wanza?
My first thought, to be honest, was you might got too much dip on your chip, man. Right? Like you're doing a whole lot here. We got to be realistic. Like you were on the Lakers, then got traded in the middle of the night for Luka, and barely played on the Mavs, like barely, and then got traded to the Wizards, right? And so all I'm saying is your career in a calendar year really went from 100 to 0 sort of quick. Like let's just be honest. as someone with a massive injury history, at least 2 GMs in a calendar year said, "Nah, it's not worth it." So all I'm saying, listen, respect to Anthony Davis, top 75 player, monster when he's healthy. Everyone, even like, Wizards fans are talking about, man, if we can get Anthony Davis for like 43 games, that's all we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, our bar is so low for him because he's injured all the time. The reality is he has to prove that he can be healthy enough. We need to get him on that KP plan, that Porzingis plan. Came here, had a career year. You know what I'm saying? He has to prove that he can be healthy enough to then maybe get on a contender. The reality is he's not going to be able. Like, I don't know what Dawkins told him, but no one in their right mind thinks we're gonna win a ring next year. You know what I'm saying? So you can want that, but you got to work with us to maybe then help facilitate that come next February. But like all this pressure, it's like, bro, people keep trading you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. Your value is dipping as we speak. It is up to you now to lift that back up, and we have given you that opportunity. Whether it's going to be here or somewhere else, we've at least given you that opportunity, as a number of teams were not. So yeah, I think he needs to just relax a little bit. Is how I see it.
I understand his desire to win and compete to win.
Definitely respect it.
Later in his career, and he was on he was with the franchise that was competing every year. Whether they, and actually no, they got to the Western Conference Finals twice with him. Obviously, won a championship with him. Won some series here and there, and now you got to the Mavericks and then to the Wizards. I understand that. However, to your point, like, he himself has to also be relatively healthy.
Yeah.
And for us to even try and compete. I said this to a couple friends. Hey, if Trae Young and Anthony Davis play 50 games together, if they play 50 games together, this team can win 28 of those 15 games at the minimum. Just above 500, but 28 games out of 50. The next 32, if we could somehow win 15 of those,
15, yeah.
That is, we're in much better place.
Worth it.
If we can, and maybe 15, maybe too much. Maybe if we could win 12, and we can actually just get to 40, that's a good thing. But Anthony Davis himself, if he really is serious about trying to be on the team that's contending, well, hey, you know what I need from you, Anthony? I need for you to actually be healthy enough to perform with us, so then you are palatable to another team.
That's it.
That you have to help us out,
to
help you out.
That's it.
I do want him to ultimately stay more than 1 year, just like Trae Young, because I do think Trae Young and him, with who we have, we can be perennial playoff teams. I do believe that.
Yeah,
with Sarr, with George, and Young and Davis, we can be in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Yeah.
Look at some of the teams that are there right now. Like Orlando's struggling in the play-in. The Hornets, the Heat, the 76ers. Those teams, really, when you think about it, don't have, not all, some of them may have talent, but Anthony Davis and Trae Young, come on, man.
Right up there.
Those are all NBA caliber guys.
Yeah.
They were all NBA caliber guys just like a year ago.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, man, you got to help yourself. If you want to help yourself, you got to help the team.
That's it.
Definitely have to help the team.
That's it, man. Like, if I'm Dawkins and he said, well, what's your plan for winning? I'm going to take out like a chalkboard and I'm going to just write at the top, how are we going to keep you healthy? That's what you need to focus on. Here's your focus. How about we work on availability? That's you helping us win. You are the plan. You know what I'm saying? We're not winning anything without Anthony Davis. So you get healthy, and now we have a chance. You do what you have done. Guess what happens? So I hear him. I respect him. You have a right to ring chase at this point in your career. However, welcome to DC, and we're working our way up to it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yep. Oh man, I just saw something. All right, never mind. Other Wizards news. Brian Keefe.
Yeah.
Got the blessing to be here for another season. Are you happy about that? Are you upset about that? Or are you... it is what it is.
I'm fine with it, right? So I guess it is what it is. I'm fine with it because I think Keefe earned this opportunity. We have to be honest. He did exactly what he was asked to do.
That is true.
He led a team to the worst record in the league. That is what he was asked to do. Not easy.
Can't tell him to lose and then get mad he loses.
You can't. And it kills me because people want to get real specific with the types of losses. Every loss should have been 10 points or less because that lets us know that that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Like, you are not going to have a mandate to lose and be competitive in every game. You can't have both. And even if we said the mandate was to win, he didn't have the roster. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody Keefe is an amazing coach and I saw hints of brilliance throughout all this. I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is he had two goals. One, lose every opportunity you can. Two, develop players. Have we not seen a number of players develop in this year? You know, Sarr looking like a superstar, almost like at least like a star. We've already talked about Will Riley a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you saw beginnings of Trey turning into something. So there were a lot of opportunities for growth, a lot of growth that we saw, and we lost. If he does everything you ask him to do, he deserves a chance to have a winning mandate. He deserves that opportunity. And I think it would look bad to the league if we said, "Yeah, thanks for just holding this spot real quick. Now we're gonna bring in a real coach."
Yeah. The human in me for sure. And now that I'm wiser in basketball and things like that, like, look, man, look what you gave him. Yeah. And now give him a chance with a team that actually might be decent. If we're still struggling due to coaching decisions with AD, Trey Young, George, Sarr, and Johnson, you know, okay, now we may need to put him on the hot seat and see who might be out there. But you didn't give him anything. You mandated him to pretty much lose. He did it. Let's now see what he can do with an actual team that might be competitive.
I think that's only fair. I'm hoping he's the one. Likely not, but he deserves a chance. I think that's fair. And if we talk about like Wes, the reason why we were also fed up with Wes is because that team was supposed to win something. Not much, obviously, but it was supposed to be more
supposed to compete for the playoffs, man.
Right. You were supposed to compete. And it was miserable. Like, that's why we said, "Oh, no, Wes gotta go." You cannot complain about Keefe at this point. He has not had an NBA roster yet. You know what I'm saying? And now he's about to. And I'm willing to give him half a year. All right? I'm willing to give him half a year. Show me that this team can be competitive as we believe it can be. You know what I'm saying? Now, after that, after Christmas-ish, around there, you know, things start looking funny. Hey, it's time to go. And then, you know what we got to do? Fly to Vegas, call up the one and only Rebecca Letitia Hammond so she can come to her rightful spot and lead this team to a championship. But we're not ready for that conversation yet. We're not ready for that one. So I'm going to save that for later.
Don't let the black women hear that. They'll say, why not? How come you're not bringing in Dawn Staley? I'm sorry, speaking too loud.
Yeah.
My bad. Before we get out of here, Wanza, one more topic. The college basketball season ended with Michigan winning.
Yeah.
We were able to see some guys who are potential prospects without a deep dive. And before we have a future interview, we got 2 future interviews with some NBA draft experts coming up.
Yeah, y'all stay tuned.
So stay tuned for that. But just right now, whether it's the first pick the Wizards get, the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever pick, who is the player that is number 1 that you want?
Number 1 on my board has to be, without a doubt, AJ Dabansta. Has to be. That's just how I feel. We've talked about it. I was questioning Darren Peterson from early.
Yes.
Something don't feel right. Something don't smell right. This is weird. Then I see interviews and I'm a loner. I like to keep to myself. I'm cool. Like, all this type of stuff is rubbing me the wrong way. Still see the potential, and I would still take him, but not number 1 and not number 2. Right? So I'm going personally, just real quick, AJ number 1 without a doubt. Then I actually switch it up a little bit compared to a lot of other people. Caleb Wilson has to be up there. He is not talked about enough, and it is killing me. Y'all gonna make me pull out my hair. This is a younger, faster KG with more offensive potential. That boy is going to be something special. And when he dunks, I flinch. Like, that's how athletic this boy is. And he's not getting nearly as much respect as he needs to. Then after that, we go in Darren Peterson. We've seen the skill set mostly in high school, but we've seen the skill set. We've seen how he looks like he's moving at a different speed than other players on the floor. I think he could get it all together. What he turns into, not fully sure. I would bet money on like Brandon Roy, but healthy, I'm assuming. That's my assumption there. And then I'm rounding that up with Cam Boozer. Super solid all around. Can only help. I'm a little worried about that floor being or the ceiling being low, I should say. But definitely, I think Cam Boozer, all around solid, can only make a difference for sure. So that's like my quick top 4 there. And then Acuff at number 5. Just throwing that out.
Okay. I would say this. Who are the absolute, let's say we are in the front office. I do need to have a real honest conversation with Darren Peterson. And I need him to tell me what was going on in Kansas.
Yeah.
Were you injured? And if you were, what kind of injury? We'll obviously have our medical staff check you out. If it's an injury where it's, hey, he's healed now, it's not something that will repeat often, that's great. If it's something that can be degenerative, concerns there. If it was something, because there's this out there that is NIL and collective money was not being provided the way it was promised to be provided.
Yeah.
If that was the case, as bad as it seemed, at least I know in the NBA I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
This is your contract. This is your salary. You're going to get it every 2 weeks, every month, at the beginning of the year, at the however you want to split it up, but you're going to get it. If you feel like you got betrayed, I can understand that. And what it does make me as a front office personnel say, okay, he's serious about this. He's serious about, if you promise him something, we're going to do it. Cool. I'm going to just make sure that I'm going to do my part.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then yeah, I would take him number 1. But if I have concerns, and when I say number 1, he'll be my number 1 choice, wherever we fall. That's who I want number 1. After that, there's AJ Dabansta. After that is Caleb Wilson. And the basketball minds that I do trust have also said the same thing you said. That yo, this kid is
he's being
the real deal. Like,
yeah.
And we just, unfortunately, if you weren't watching North Carolina during the regular season and was just hoping to see him during the tournament, we got screwed because he didn't even finish due to the injury, which is something that doesn't look like it's going to be repetitive.
Yeah, don't seem like
a fluke hand wrist injury. Should be fine. So those are the three guys that I would definitely be wanting for the team. Cameron Boozer, NBA pedigree, literally won at every level. Oh, sorry, let me say champion at every level.
Yeah.
And won at even the college level. You know, he didn't win a championship, but for them to win the ACC, for them to get to the Elite Eight, the game went the way it went, but the dude clearly knows what it takes to win. I would definitely like someone like that on the Washington Wizards.
Can I just say one more thing about Darren Peterson? Because I don't think it's being talked about enough. Just real quick. There was a point where Bill Self was getting fed up and said in a press conference, after a game press conference, he was like, is he injured? I don't know. That to me was about 3 red flags.
That was concerning. It was.
Because we're all saying, well, is he injured? Is he? We are allowed to be confused. You know what I'm saying? We are allowed to guess. Your coach should never be confused about that.
Now, mind you, Wanza, he could have been, in a sense, protecting him, but still, it's still a concern. So that's why we need to get to the bottom of it before we make a decision.
That's how I feel. It could have been. I hear that. He looked frustrated, though. It didn't look like he was protecting. It looked like he was frustrated, as if he's not fully sure, as if he's getting, Darren's about to play today. And after exactly 17 and a half minutes, Darren goes, dang, got the whistle, coach. I need to come out. I need a blow. Yeah. Like, it is odd if your coach doesn't know. And that, to me, is just the biggest red flag that says to me he was likely doing something like, just not the most ethical. He was likely finessing the system. That's where I'm starting to lean on it. And if that's what I'm getting from you at 18, wait until you start making grown man money. How are you going to act then? I don't know.
Yeah, man. Well, before we get out of here, I just want to remind you all to like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Yeah. Also, the audio format on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, X, at The Wizards Pulse. And if you want to be part of a future episode, call us on our hotline, 202-734-5293.
Please.
Wanza, want to say thank you for everything you do. Everyone out there watching and listening, now that the regular season is over, we will be maybe recording every other week, but we're going to make sure we have pertinent content for the Wizards. We're going to have draft experts. We're going to have former Wizards players on the podcast. So make sure you stay tuned and up to date on everything we do. Until next time, everyone, the Wizards Pulse. Peace.
Go Wiz.
We're soaring high like sparrows in the air. Gee whiz is dancing. We don't have a care from downtown Thunder to the paint they light. The Washington Wizards, weeping with pride.